Hey everybody, thank you for coming to watch. So I've got an update for you guys on the Atlantic right now. So, we've got some pretty intense chances of development in the tropics right now. We've already got a 50% chance of tropical development in the next 48 hours because of this tropical wave down here that's approaching the Lesser Antilles Islands. Then we've got Dawn out here spinning around. It's getting attacked by a little bit of wind shear, and behind it, there's some remnants of it approaching Bermuda. But today's focus is mainly going to be on Invest 95L, which is this tropical wave right here, which is represented by this orange X. And this 50% here symbol that you see, this marks exactly where, there's a chance of development. And we're just going to be talking about, how likely are the chances of development that we're going to be seeing. And then if it does develop and earns a name, if it does earn a name, then we will break down, obviously, how strong it's going to get. But, we look at what's going on with Tropical Storm Dawn. And right now you've got Tropical Storm force wind swaths of Dawn for pretty much this entire area out here. This isn't really an area that I'm concerned about just because there's literally nobody out here. This is just the open Atlantic, so it's just kind of chilling out here. And we look at the wind speed probabilities, 100%. We still have 100% percentages of tropical storm force winds. We go to the hurricane force wind speed probability. We still do not have any chance of hurricane wind speed probabilities. We go to the loop and we just check in just to see if it's possible, and it is definitely not possible. So we will not see a hurricane out of Dawn. It tried, but it's looking like it's going to be the end of Dawn. We look at the warnings and the cones right now. You've got the current wind field estimate right now is a tropical storm force winds right here around where this X is. This is where Dawn is right now as of 5 p.m. Today. And then, it's forecasted to kind of take a jump northwestward and then maybe hit Newfoundland, but then it curls off to the northeast, and then it'll pretty much be done after Monday. So I think it's looking like it could definitely carry on with tropical storm strength, and then pretty much by Monday is when it'll be downgraded to a tropical depression, and then pretty much after midday, noon Monday, it'll be done for the rest of its kind of lifespan. But we go over to what today's main focus is, which is going to be this tropical wave that we've got approaching the Lesser Antilles Islands. This has developed very, very intense and very, very fast throughout this week. And we've been tracking this wave ever since it emerged off the coast of Western Africa. And then we go down to kind of what the National Hurricane Center's saying for this. And so we've got in the central tropical Atlantic a small area of low pressure located roughly midway between the Cabo Verde Islands and the Lesser Antilles is continuing to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Although environmental conditions are not only marginally conducive, slow development is expected, and the system will likely become a tropical depression early next week while it moves westward across the tropical Atlantic. So, it could also enter, once it passes through the Lesser Antilles Islands, it could also enter the Caribbean, which is, known to weather forecasters as the graveyard of tropical systems, and that's because there is so much wind shear all season long out there. And one thing that tells us, if it lets us know if the storm that we have is strong, is that if it moves through that area without being harmed much. If it's not harmed much, that tells you that it definitely is capable of being above tropical storm status, tropical hurricane status. But if it has a little bit of trouble getting through that area, it's looking like it's, probably just going to be a tropical storm at most. But, for now, we have a 50% chance of development through the next 48 hours. So that means that it's a 50-50 chance of waking up tomorrow, and then you have, like Tropical Depression 4, Tropical Depression 5 when you wake up tomorrow. And then throughout the next 7 days, there's a high chance of development, 70%, and that would probably be giving the storm the name Emily. So Emily would be next on the list. So in a few days, this could quite possibly become Tropical Storm Emily. So definitely watch out for some tropical storm impacts in the Lesser Antilles Islands. So we're going to be looking at now kind of just what the models are agreeing on with the first initial track of the storm. And you can see that, they all take it through the Lesser Antilles Islands. Some of them this is where some of them kind of disagree. Some of them say that they won't make it past, the storm will not make it past the Lesser Antilles Islands. And a few of them, maybe 5, 6, 7, or 8 of them, say that they'll go through the Caribbean, and then one of them says that they will go through the Lesser Antilles Islands, maybe go for Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and then it'll tail just east of Florida. And then you can see it says it will drop down to a 990 millibar low pressure storm, which is very, very low considering how strong we think this storm will be as of now. But that would be pretty much equivalent to a high-end tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane, which is a whole nother story if we get to hurricane status. But we look at the possible intensity. This is the intensity guidance. I'm going to actually pull up, what we could actually have based on the latest model guidance, because I think the 18Z just came out. So can you guys just give me a second right here? And yeah, so we'll put on the 18Z. And you can see that most of the models take it up at least a tropical storm strength. We're going to start off to the ones that kind of keep it down low. These are the ones that I think the ones that are in the green, this tropical storm green section, or in this tropical white section, are going to be the ones that are pretty much going to be the most faithful to look at, just because, they don't go crazy on the strength of these storms like the others do. Like you could see the ship model, this one takes it all the way up to Category 3 status. The HWFI takes it all the way up to Category 4 status. So, we're talking major hurricane right there, but that's only 2 models. There are 2 that are very, very similar. These 2 take it to Category 2, Category 1 for quite a few of them, maybe 5 or 6. And then I would say the majority of them are probably going to take it up to tropical storm status. But, based on what we're looking at here, there is a good chance that we will have our first, this would be our first hurricane of the Atlantic hurricane season. So, this is something we're going to have to continue watching, something that you're going to have to take seriously. But we could quite possibly, see a pretty strong storm, form out of this tropical wave. But, I would really think that this green section and the white section, if you don't really understand what TS means, that the green section and the white section down here are pretty much, where the storm will be located according to this map. And then maybe there's still a chance that this could get bumped up to the yellow, and then maybe, very unlikely, but possibly up to the orange. But we still have to make sure that this will develop. We have a good idea that this will develop. I really do think that this could become Tropical Storm Cindy somewhere, by late Sunday into very early hours of Monday. But, we could definitely have a pretty strong storm with this. So, we move on to the rainfall kind of rates here, and we're just going to break down kind of what the characteristics and movement of the storm is going to be. This is pretty much a bird's eye view of the storm, except for just the model guidance of the storm. So this is the HWRF hurricane model. So this is pretty much kind of what you would have with the GFS model for U.S. weather, except this is going to be for the tropics. But we start out today. This is 8 p.m. today. We got a 1,014 millibar low pressure center. This is pretty much where we are right now, as I speak. But we take it all the way into tomorrow. We get to 8 a.m. tomorrow. This is where you start seeing that more of that thunderstorm development. It's very, very unorganized, but you have thunderstorm development building out here. And you can see that it's looking like the western side is definitely going to be the strongest side. So that tells you that this could actually hold up pretty well against wind shear, meaning that, because the wind shear is going to be pressing against the western side, it's not going to take as much damage because the western side is going to be stronger than the eastern side, which the eastern side will not be taking any of the wind shear. But it almost completely falls apart here midday tomorrow. So we could definitely, if this doesn't have a name tomorrow, there's a chance. It's very low, but there is a chance that this could convince the forecasters at the National Hurricane Center to downgrade the chance of development through the next 7 days, because this will definitely not have a name by here. There's still a chance that it will have a name by then, but I think it pretty much definitely won't have a name. But we take it back all the way into, I believe this would be Thursday. No, not Thursday. Sunday. So you're getting into the early morning hours of Sunday, and this is where you start seeing that broad intensification with the storm. Now you're starting to see some more rainfall on the eastern side, some more rotation, a little bit more precise rotation, and then you start getting your outer bands, and then it weakens a little bit as you get into those afternoon hours of Sunday, and it gets pretty weak here. You can see that you almost have nothing on the coating the outside of the very outside of the center, the low pressure center. But we get into the evening hours of Sunday, and then this is where you start seeing the southwestern side getting a little bit more of that rainfall action. And then when it really starts intensifying, a lot more, this is when you can see it's way out of shape, but it has a lot of moisture to deal with. You have so much thunderstorm activity out here. These are all tropical downpours. They're just not aligned and in the right shape, and that tells you that the dynamics aren't right, for tropical development at this point. I think that we could definitely have tropical storm Emily at this point, but I want to show you guys that the sounding. I know we don't look at it that much on the channel, but the way you can tell of how much moisture there is in the air, you can see this green line right here is the dew point. The red line is the air temperature. You go 1,000 meters into the air, and the dew point is pretty much the same as the temperature, all the way up 1,000 meters into the air. It's crazy. It is so humid that the humidity is pretty much making the air temperature feel like, I guess this would be 78 degrees, because that's what the dew point would be, all the way up into 1,000 meters into the atmosphere. So it is very, very, very sticky out here and muggy. That tells you that there's a ton of moisture to work with for this storm. We continue out into Monday. You're getting into the late morning hours of Monday, afternoon hours of Monday. Now you're starting to see a little bit more of intensification, a little bit of weakening out here Monday night. We get into Tuesday, and you have storms. You have thunderstorm action all around the center of the storm. Except the eastern side is a little bit drier than the western side. We're going to definitely see that. This is where you get the biggest, first jump of the storm. This is going to be probably 8 a.m. Tuesday. So you're waking up Tuesday. This is definitely going to, I would say this is definitely going to have it. I would say there's 95% chance that this is going to be a tropical storm Emily by here. But I think that this would be probably a 40 to 50 mile an hour tropical storm at this point. But you can really see now that you get those outer bands a little bit more sharper rotation out here, and this is also when it's going to be getting a little bit closer to the Lesser Antilles Islands. Now you can see that, you know, the outer bands are reaching those islands, and you can kind of tell based on this model that this storm will probably hit as a pretty much just a regular tropical storm. But one decision we have to make is we have to see if this storm makes it through the Lesser Antilles Islands without taking much damage or wind shear. This could definitely maintain the strength to become a high-end tropical storm and potentially a hurricane. We still have to figure that out. But we get, all the way towards where this is going to make landfall. We get, this is 8 p.m. Tuesday, so Tuesday night. Look at all this intensification. You got very, very sharp rotation, multiple bands of, outer bands of rainfall, and then you've got gusty winds out here. But, I mean, look at this. This is right over the island. This is mid, landfall. And then you're still seeing intensification as it's making landfall. It's crazy. So we get into the extreme early morning hours of Wednesday, and we're still seeing that intensification. Look at this. You're already down to 999 millibar low pressure center. You've got very intense rotation out here, very precise. You can see those outer bands reaching just west of those islands, and then this enters the Caribbean, and this could definitely be a high-end tropical storm. This could be a 50 to 60 mile an hour tropical storm at this point. But we get into, we get through the rest of Wednesday. I think this will be Wednesday, yeah. And it's still down to 998 millibar low pressure center. But, look at all this rotation out here. There is a lot of rotation, very sharp. You've got an eye of the storm. You even have an eye. It's very... This is definitely going to be a strong storm. This is going to be one of those strong tropical storms that you're going to see that could have moments where it could potentially get up to a hurricane. So, it's looking like this is going to be a strong storm. We'll obviously continue watching it, but that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for coming to watch. And if you're in the U.S., obviously if you're back up in the U.S., watch out for some of the storms tonight, especially across parts of Georgia, northern Georgia, and the Northeast. If you're in northern Georgia, watch out for some flooding, especially around the Atlanta area. And then we'll also obviously continue watching this tropical wave. So this could be Tropical Storm Emily. We don't know that yet completely, but it's looking pretty likely. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.